Hey guys, welcome to the training channel. My name is Brandon, and today we're starting a 4-part video series on how to train for the tactical games. Now in this video series, we're not going to be going over anything in particular. We're going to be going over what you need to train, and I'm going to demonstrate how I personally break up all of the different skills you need to be able to train for the tactical game. So in the sport of the tactical games, there's a lot of different things that you need to be good at, and it takes a lot of training. So I kind of segmented all of the different skills into 4 different training sessions, 4 different ways I train. I have a couple that I do at home and a couple I do on the range. So I have 2 that I do on a weekly basis and 2 that I do on a daily basis. So the 4 different areas that I train for, they're not really areas, they're just ways that I segmented all of the training into 4 different training sessions, like I already said. First and foremost, strength and conditioning, something I do on a daily basis. I do at my house normally. Then we have dry fire and mobility, another thing that's done on a daily basis that is done at my house. And then out here on the range, these are the training sessions we do on a weekly basis. We have practical shooting, so this is our normal shooting that you're going to see, that you see most of T.REX content is. And then lastly, we have positional shooting and mock tactical game stages. And today, in the first video of this video series, we're going to be going over the last point number 4, and that is positional shooting and doing a mock tactical game stage. Now, like I mentioned earlier, none of these points are more important than the other, but if I had to say one is most beneficial for me to demonstrate and to explain, it's definitely going to be point number 4. So in the tactical games, we've said it numerous times in other videos, scoring is based on your shooting. Your fitness gets you to your scoring. So fitness and shooting is 50-50, but generally speaking, for 80% of the stages, your fitness doesn't give you points, it's your shooting. You just have to work to get to your shooting. So, and all of the shooting that we do in the tactical games is bullseye type shooting. It's a lot of positional type stuff, and there's a lot of odd pistol shooting. So like today, what we're gonna work on is single hand shooting, for example. Now, when I approach any of these different training areas, I generally try to prioritize the squeakiest wheel. So what I mean by that is, what am I most efficient in? And when it comes down to positional shooting, it's gonna be the same. We're gonna take the same principle to that, and honestly, I suck at every position. So I like to really train off this PRS barricade, and I keep it on an unsteady ground. So I don't have a firm, sturdy barricade to work off of. I do some prone shooting, but it's not, again, that's not my squeakiest wheel. And then for pistol shooting on this day in particular, we're not, shooting for speed or anything like that. We're really focused on accuracy. That's going to be the principle that we're training for today for both rifle and pistol. But for pistol, I'm pretty good with a normal grip, but I'm not the greatest with single hand shooting. So my squeakiest wheel with pistol shooting is going to be single hand shooting. So let's get into some of the demonstrations of the shooting itself. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to be going over how to do anything particular in this video series, just what you need to cover. And in this video, we're doing positional shooting. But there are a ton of ways that you can train positional shooting, a ton of different methods of how many reps, what positions to do, all of that sort of thing. I'm just doing what I need to work on here. And again, like I said, I'm using this PRS barricade. So what I'm going to do for the positional shooting to start, I'm just going to pick a couple positions. I'm going to go off buzzer, and I'm going to take 3 shots from the position. So I'm going to try and get into position as fast as I can, get 3 well-aimed shots off onto the targets that I have downrange. So downrange, my targets are 100 yards away. That's exactly what my gun is zeroed for, so I don't have any weird variables like that I need to take into account. The only variable is me as a shooter. I have the target sized at the MOA that this gun is, so I'm not shooting my match ammo, I'm shooting training ammo, so I have 3-inch triangles downrange. So the point behind this is I should not be going super fast. I should have 100% accuracy on the targets. That's my ultimate goal for the day. You can do this with 3-round groups, 5-round groups, 10-round groups, doesn't matter. I like 3 to 5-round groups, but it doesn't matter, honestly. So I'm going to work on more of the easy positions to start. So up top, just working on the more comfortable positions. Then I'll get into the lower, more awkward kneeling positions. Today I'm not going to work on any prone. Sometimes I start off with prone, but before we started filming, I confirmed the zero on the gun, did a little bit of prone there, so I'm not going to worry about that. So let's get into some of the rifle shooting. All right, so you don't need fancy targets to do positional work like this, but in the tactical games, we do shoot odd shaped targets, and all I did was draw a 3-inch triangle, and obviously I shot it. So we started the day, like I said before, we started filming just some prone work just to make sure the gun was zeroed. This is, a 2.5 or 3-inch circle, just to make sure the gun was good. And then we went on to work on these. So a lot of these shots coming up higher for me being in the kneeling, yanking, pulling the gun down. So that's obviously one of the things we need to work on is preventing that from happening. And then I generally will staple up another target like this, the same one. And at the end of the day, if I have time, I'll come back and shoot it some more. So round count for this, normally 100, 200 rounds, just depends on how much time I have today. This was right at 100 rounds. So let's go look at the pistol target. So with the pistol target, you guys saw shot a couple different ways. This was standing with both hands on the pistol at 20 yards, so not too bad. Had a couple out, and then this was right hand only shooting at 15, and this was left hand shooting at 15. This is where you're gonna start to see striker fired polymer pistols start to have a disadvantage comparatively to like 1911s or 2011s. This type of shooting is just a little bit more difficult because of how stiff the trigger is, and that is why this is generally my focus of training on the positional shooting days that I do. I'll just do one target with both hands just to kind of warm up. That's basically it. I generally don't have an issue shooting this way. So if you guys notice, all of my groups are towards the corner, except for what's going on here, we'll talk about in a second. That's because I'm aiming for the corner. I'm not actually aiming and trying to get everything in the paper, just looking for that more refined spot. So right hand shooting with just right hands, honestly not the most difficult thing, it's the left hand. This is pretty challenging. So this is actually pretty happy with this for 15 yards. Shooting with the Glock performance trigger. I'm actually, for this type of shooting, this trigger is pretty good. Now, this was shooting off the barricade. So with polymer guns, having to load the pistol, that can induce a lot of weird things. So I'm aiming here, shots are coming down here, so I have to basically change my point of aim with this pistol based on where the shots are going. So this is one of the areas where a Glock has a huge disadvantage. We do shoot off of barricades and pistols sometimes, and every time it's kind of screwed me over. So I do practice this as well, and obviously I don't know my pistol all that well. So the next thing we're going to do before we do the tactical game stage is we're going to induce our control, is what I call it. So we're going to shoot the shooting that we do during the stage before we do the stage. That sounded pretty confusing, and I apologize, but what that means is I'm going to load my mags like I would as if I'm doing the stage, but then I'm just going to do the shooting with under no duress. And then I'm going to go down to the targets, mark my hits with a red or a blue pen, and then I'm going to do the tactical game stage and see the difference between my hits from when I did them not under duress versus when they were under duress. So let's go over and do that now. So the shooting on this stage calls for 5x mags of 12 with the rifle and then 5x10 of the pistol. We have a 150-yard target. That's a upside down triangle for the rifle shooting. And during the stage, I have to shoot off of each of one of these 3 legs at least once. And then the last 2 rounds of shooting, if I get to them, I get to pick my favorite position. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to shoot my 12 rounds, not under any time or anything, stand up, get into another position, and go in that way. So for the pistol, it's a red dot torture target, so it's little 1/2-inch squares at 5 yards, and I'm just gonna do 10 rounds at a time, take a break, 10 rounds at a time, and then we'll do the tactical game stage. So we're gonna shoot these, go down, mark the targets, so I can see how well I can shoot the target while I'm not under duress, and then do the stage, shoot the same target, and compare the differences. So let's get shooting. Pistol target, shot not under duress. We did 50 rounds, like I already said. These are about 1/2-inch squares, 5 yards. Already said all this, but I got 40 out of 50 hits, so 80% hits. That's pretty good. That's generally the number we want to see while under duress, so we're going to see if we can keep this up. Now, I will say I underestimated how many rounds we're shooting, so we're just going to pace up new targets. We'll just tear these off and keep these set to the side. So let's go look at the rifle. Hits with the rifle target were actually exactly the same, 80% hits. So this is, again, the bare minimum I want to see during a stage. this is going to be competitive for most regionals, but at nationals, 80% is not going to cut it. So I was shooting pretty quick off of the positions back there on the tank trap on purpose. So during the actual stage, I'll definitely slow it down a little bit. So up next, we're going to do the actual tactical game stage. I'll brief it once we get down there, explain what's going on. So let's get after it. Before I brief what the mock tactical game stage is, I'm going to explain why doing these stages are important and why it's important to do them on a regular basis. So first and foremost, when I do these stages, when I plan them, I like to do a stage that I've done at a regional or something as similar as possible. So the reason why I like to do that is because when I do these stages once a week, this is more of an assessment. This is not part of my strength and conditioning training, although obviously that will improve through conducting these stages. But like I said, it's more of an assessment. So if I've done, for example, this stage 3 months ago at a regional, I can compare my times to now versus then. And obviously, this is not a good representation of how I was feeling during a regional or during national championships, for example, because, for example, at nationals, this was one of 11 stages we did. So I'm pretty fresh today. I did work out this morning, so this is my third workout of the day. But I'm in much more refreshed state comparatively to one of those matches. So it's important to do this because, like I said, it's a good reassessment of something you've already done if you want to do a stage you've done before at a regional. But also, the name of the game of tactical games is being accountable for your shooting while under duress. And there's really only one way to do that, and that is to get under duress on the range and then shoot. So that's what we're practicing today. We're going to practice our positional shooting while under duress because, like I said, that's the name of the game for tactical games. And yeah, that's basically the reason why. So this stage here, this is a pretty popular stage, pretty common one. This is one we did at nationals. This is farmer carries and overhead carries. So first and foremost, I'll go through the loadout and then we'll talk about the weights and stuff. So the loadouts for this stage is 5x12 rifle, like I already said, and 5x10 pistol. So with rifle, we're gonna start with the rifle in the barrel. And when I'm done shooting with the rifle, it'll go back to the barrel. Just to reiterate, the shooting positions, I have to shoot off of each one of these legs at least once. I have 5 rounds, so that means 2 of the legs I get to shoot off of twice. I get to pick which legs I want to shoot off of twice, but each one needs at least 1 round of shooting done. For the pistol shooting, it's pretty simple. You guys saw the dot torture. This is just 5 yards with the pistol. Nothing crazy here. Just pull out my pistol, load the mag, shoot it. Once I'm done, I unload my pistol, put it back, and then I go back to work. So the flow of this stage is going to be a little bit different because I'm trying to get more shooting in. So I'm actually going to start with shooting. So I'm going to shoot my rifle, come over, shoot my pistol, and then I'll begin the work. So I'm going to start with shooting, go to work, shooting, work, and then I'll actually end with shooting as well. So, and this is just to get more reps with the shooting. So time cap for this stage is 15 minutes. So that means I need to get all of my shooting and work done within that time. If you guys weren't aware what you need, if you weren't aware of what you need for the stage, for what's on your body, I need a 15-pound plate carrier, which is what I got here. And then I have to retain all 5 of my magazines until they're expended. So I'll have 5 of each on my body until they're expended. So the weights we have for the farmer carry bars, this is 205 pounds per arm, so 410 pounds total. This is very, very heavy. This is the weight that was used at national championships for the men's elite. So it's gonna be difficult. And the overhead carry is 185. So this is on an axle bar. Again, this is very heavy. Same weights that was used at national championships for the men's elite. So the stage that I did at national championships, I was in the men's tactical division. I did 135 on this bar, and the total weight there, I believe, was 340 pounds. So we're bumping up about 50 pounds each bar. So this is gonna be challenging for me. Hopefully I can get through it. The distance we're going 20 yards down, 20 yards back. The rule with the carries themselves and the overhead carry is the bar has to break the plane of the cones on each side. So down there's 2 cones. I have to go past the cones and then come back. They do not need to touch the ground on that side of the cone. So I can somehow, if I could, carry this 410 pounds all the way down, turn around without touching the ground. That's okay. Same thing with the overhead carry. I don't need to drop it down there. They do obviously have to touch the ground here. So the first round of work we're gonna do is farmer carries. And then the next 2 rounds of work, we're gonna do overhead carries, and then I'm gonna finish with farmer carries. That's gonna be the flow. So farmer carries, overhead carry, farmer carry. I'm out of breath just explaining this, so let's get into it. finish with 2 seconds left. Brand needs a minute. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Those elite boys in nationals did that. That was tough. They did 3 rounds of shooting. I did 5. I made it with 2 seconds left into the time cap, barely. That farmer carry was nuts. So let's look at the target. Remember, we had 80% hits when we weren't under duress. So we're just going to count these up here. If it breaks the line, it's a hit. So if it looks like I'm counting something that appears to be a miss, just trust me, it's a hit according to tactical games. So we got 1, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 misses. So we actually shot better this time with the pistol. So the way the scoring works, we'll talk about the scoring as we walk a little bit. It's time. Your score is just time. So you take your raw time, and every shot that you miss, you add 10 seconds. So I have 9 misses with the pistol so far. So far I have 90 seconds to add. That's why shooting accountability is so important, because 10 seconds is a lot of time. And there's penalties if you didn't complete the work. So if I didn't finish the farmer carry, I believe it's a 2-minute penalty, but I have to double check. But it doesn't matter, I finished all the work. So let's go check out the rifle. So we dropped a couple more with the rifle on that last mag. I was cutting close to time, so I sent it pretty quick. But if you notice, if you minus, a couple of those like really quick shots when I was trying to make up some time, this is a much better group in my opinion. But we dropped 15 total, so that's another 150 seconds added to the time. So we have a total of 240 seconds in penalties, which is quite a bit. If you can do the math there, I'll just divide just to make sure. That's 4 whole minutes. So my total time for this stage was 18:58. So I finished the stage 14:58, add the 4 minutes of penalties, 18:58. This type of accuracy is not competitive. Like I said, 80% is the minimum. We're a little bit below 80% here. It's not the end of the world, but this is, if you compare it to my shooting at nationals, this would have been my worst target. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, this is a 4-part series. We're going to do a video on the other 4 points just to reiterate one more time. Today we covered positional shooting and mock tactical game stages as one of the ways to train for the tactical game. So like I said, tons of things you got to train for. The other 3 points, just to reiterate one more time, we have strength and conditioning. We'll do a video talking about that. We have mobility and dry fire. We'll do a video about that. And then practical shooting, we'll do probably a short video on that as well. So again, appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to try this stage out, like I said, it's a very common one. You'll see it at a regional. Highly encourage it. It's definitely one of the heavier ones. So again, appreciate you watching. Until next time, Brandon at T.REX.